Over 70 people were arrested this weekend when the Occupy Wall Street movement stormed Times Square in New York City. Now, this latest clash with police comes as members of this movement are advocating violence and anti-Semitism. In Denver, a protester called for the assassination of former President George W. Bush.
What do you think can change to make things better?
If you get the 13 families that own the world, including George Bush and his administration, get them in front of the White House and hang them and shoot them because they deserve that.
And in Los Angeles, another call for Jews to be expelled from America.
I think that the Zionist Jews who are running these big banks in our Federal Reserve, which is not run by the federal government, they need to be run out of this country.
Now, meanwhile, the liberal media is doing its part to hail this movement. Now, the New York Times profiled protester Edward Hall III, noting that he attended Columbia University and has a trust fund set up by his grandfather. But they failed to note that, according to the New York Post, Hall was arrested in January for attempting to board a plane without ID by jumping on a baggage conveyor belt. And if Hall looks familiar, it's because our cameras recently caught up with him. Do you remember this?
Personally, I was born to be here. Right now, the Founding Fathers have been passing down the torch to this generation to make our country great again. So that's what we're here to do.
Do you watch Fox News by any chance?
Yeah, I watch it religiously.
And do you watch the Hannity show?
I haven't watched Hannity in a while.
What's turned you off about Sean Hannity? Why don't you watch the show?
Timing-wise, I guess it just doesn't sync up with my schedule.
God, of course, how could a trust fund baby, they are partying at this time of night. And joining me with reaction, the author of American Individualism, a bestseller, Fox News contributor, Margaret Hoover, and Project 21 fellow, Daily Caller columnist, Fox News contributor, Deneen Borelli is here. Guys, good to see you. When the Tea Party, Deneen, was accused of racism, Andrew Breitbart said, show me the tape. Yes. I got $100,000 in one particular instance. We asked for the evidence. And there were instances where Tea Party members would go after extremists. Right. I have lots of tape of anti-Semitic remarks being made. I have lots of tape of incendiary language being used. The media has barely touched it. What do you make of it?
Well, that's very concerning. But you know what else? And I'm a speaker at numerous Tea Party events around the country. They're peaceful movement. Individuals are concerned about freedom, liberty, and learning something from the speakers when they come. I get standing ovations when I speak at these groups. But you know what's really outrageous?
I mean, you're just showing up, you get a standing ovation.
I'll sign your football for you. But you know what's really outrageous is the fact that President Obama has aligned himself with these individuals. Okay, the Tea Party movement is about fiscal responsibility, constitutional representation, limited government. Obama has aligned himself with these individuals.
By the way, look at the video. Remember they would look at the video. How many African Americans are here? I don't see, there are some, but it looks...
I will tell you there's diversity, Sean, because I live two blocks away from there.
Not dramatic diversity.
No, I'm going to tell you about the diversity that there is. I live 2 blocks away from there. I went down today. I saw a new sign. You know what the sign said? It said 519 years of occupation, native occupation. So there are Native American Indians that claim that there's genocide on our soil, the American Holocaust, and so there is Native American diversity there, at least that. What I will say is this is a patchwork quilt of... This is a fringe festival of liberal, progressive complaints. And there isn't a unified, cohesive movement. And I think what President Obama was trying to do is maybe give it some shape. Because the truth is, the far left of his party, who make up this movement, they're angry at him. And I think if he doesn't, I totally agree with you. It's nuts for him to, because it's a fringe festival, and frankly, it's dangerous. I think he's playing with fire. Absolutely. But what's he going to do? They're either going to go after him, or he's going to try to at least give it shape or define it. I don't think it's necessarily a wise move, but you can see the dilemma he's in.
Well, the president has now twice gone to the support, and they kind of tipped their hand a little bit that they might be offering more, at least some moral support. I think it's the biggest political mistake that they could possibly make, and I believe this will backfire.
No, you're absolutely right, and there are other Democrats who are aligning themselves with this movement as well. But what they should be targeting, they're targeting Wall Street, capitalism. They should be targeting crony capitalism.
Totally agree with you.
Solyndra, our tax dollars being wasted on these pet projects that are not going to help us.
Solyndra, green energy, reckless spending.
Absolutely.
Right? And this is actually the collusion of big banks and big government and big unions, all these big movements getting in bed together rather than, and meanwhile, you know, the small banks, the community banks they're not getting loans. The small business owners aren't getting loans. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs is getting bailed out.
I share a certain sentiment with them. I don't want bank bailouts. I don't want insurance company bailouts. I don't want car bailouts.
I agree.
I want balanced budgets. I want them to live within their means. They don't want, this is where we part company. While we may agree on bailouts, they want bigger government. They want more distribution of wealth.
Right.
They want more socialism.
But also what they've also stood beside in addition is the big banks and the big businesses getting cozy with big government so that they can have relationships with regulators that have decisions in government go their way. And that's the crony capitalism.
Well, another thing they should be targeting is the EPA. I mean, our energy prices are going to go through the roof if Obama continues with the EPA with their regulations. Jobs, and that's tax revenue going to the government.
Let me ask you a question. Is this an anti-Semitic movement? There are too many examples that I have on tape of people making anti-Semitic comments.
I think that's absurd. I think there's no way it's anti-Semitic movement. I think there are fringe people.
But if there was one person at a Tea Party rally that used the N-word.
I agree. The mischaracterization of this, but you don't take the fringe guys and say it characterizes the whole movement the same way they did with the Tea Party. I agree. There's been a double standard in how the media has treated this and how the media has treated the Tea Party.
But there's been a lot of these comments. It's not like one isolated incident.
I've looked at this for about 3 weeks, and I've been down there a lot. I go down there a lot. I haven't actually. I've seen a couple on YouTube. Does it smell as bad as
people say? Honestly.
No, but I will tell you before they're about to get
everybody that's been down there tells me it stinks.
I have recently started smelling, you know, a lot of, you know, like pot and, you know, some of these other drugs. So there's all sorts of smells.
How would you know what pot smells like?
Come on, you know what pot smells. We all know incense and pot, and we know they're different, and it's all down there.
Here's the other thing. You know, with Tea Party movement, we police our own. I've been at events where people have been ushered out because they were trying to be disruptive. So if we're looking at anti-Semitic comments and we're looking at people who are being anti-American with their rhetoric, they should be policed their own if that is not
the way the Tea Party has.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, good to see you both. Appreciate it. Congrats on your